Feeling sorry for myself, letting bitterness. I did make an animation though, called Raspy the Cat, off of my bitterness. Because really what you have to do is you have to give it a name. I named mine Raspy. Like, hey Raspy, I know what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to break me down, but this is 2025. We don't go there. Yeah, Raspy. That's that voice in your head. Like sometimes when I pick up the phone and make a video, I'll hear all the insults that I've ever heard about me. And you're like, Raspy, why are you doing that? We're about to film a video. That's the resistance, right? And here's the thing, like if we create the whole universe, right? If this really is from my mind, all those things that are said to me are actually a part of me. That's my self-doubt, or it wouldn't hurt, right? If it wasn't a part of me, it wouldn't affect you, you know? And so that's when you're like, look, Raspy, I'm making the video no matter what. I'm making the song, I'm making the dance. You are not crushing this vibe in 2025. So you can have a conversation with it. When you have that voice come up in your head, as we all do, you know, and here's what I used to do when I performed live. Sometimes you would get nervous before I went on stage. You'd be like, your heart's racing, right? You're like, oh my gosh. And there's like this fear, this resistance. It's like, I can't do it. But then I'm like, no, dude, I feel extra alive. That's what this feeling is. This nervous feeling is my body telling me that I am so ready. And how cool is it that I get to have this feeling, you know? My body's just like so awake. The heart's pumping. I'm ready for the show. And so you can do that too with your anything, you know, bitterness. I'm like, oh, hey, Raspy, I'm actually, instead of stopping what I'm filming, I'm going to make a cartoon about you. I'm going to make a poem about you. I am a magician. I can transform any of these feelings into something positive. And so that's our 2025. You're all magicians. Anything that comes up, like even like some of the best things that you write down are the most painful things, because people are healing from that. They also, if you feel it, other people have felt a version of it, you know? And when you write it down, and that's a beautiful feeling when you hear someone articulate something that maybe you thought you were only going through, you're like, oh, thank you for that perspective. Like you really just gave me some medicine with your words. And that's why great comedians, you know, philosophers, all of them, songs, they all do that. One of my relatives hated poetry until they were going through the hardest time in their life. They started sending me poems. I'm like, oh, look at that. Isn't that funny? You hated it, but now that your life's falling apart, you're sending me poems? Because it's the medicine, because you're like, oh yeah, thanks for that. So anytime that you are going through something hard or something's bothering you and maybe crushing you, be like, oh, this is an opportunity for you to be the magician that you are and to transform it, you know? You can start by writing it down. You can sit in that feeling. A lot of times the feeling, I like to think this, it's the higher self, the cosmos has given you a seed, right? Your feelings are talking to you. And what if those are the ingredients to your creation? So that helps me a lot. This feeling that I have, is it coming from the cosmos? Because they can't talk to me in my language, but they can talk to me through an emotional language. And if I try to dissect and look at that emotion and feeling from every angle, well, then I find a truth in there, which is a gift that I was given, that was wrapped in pain, or wrapped in, confusion. So 2025, this is what we're doing. We're high vibing. We're transforming. Anytime something bad happens to you, be like, oh, dude, I'm going to write this down on my list of things to transform, because that's what I do. That's us.